Welcome to another Night with Phee right here on the Phee Smee Network. Topics include tonight Sodom and Gomorrah, the science of affection, a day of mourning and civil war, right here, right now on Night with Phee. I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. I certainly appreciate your time. You go back, watch all of our shows, see all of our podcasts right here at the Phee Smee Network. Thank you guys. If you would follow us, like us, love us, do whatever you can to help us to get this message out, and we do appreciate it. Before we get into some more heated topics tonight, we will get into our riddles of theology. The riddles of theology. All right, here we go. Throw away the outside and cook the inside. Then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it? Throw away the outside and cook the inside. Then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it? Throw away the outside and cook the inside. Then eat the outside and throw away the inside. What is it? If you answered corn on the cob, you would be correct. Thank you for the opportunity to do business on Night with Phee. Second riddle of theology. Poor people have it. Rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? Poor people have it. Rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? I do appreciate you guys tuning in to Night with Phee. Poor people have it. Rich people need it. If you eat it, you die. What is it? The correct answer is nothing. Poor people have nothing. Rich people need nothing. And if you eat nothing, you die. Last riddle of theology for the night. Paul's height is 6 feet. He's an assistant at a butcher's shop and wears size 9 shoes. What does he weigh? Paul's height is 6 feet. He's an assistant at a butcher's shop and wears size 9 shoes. What does he weigh? Last riddle of theology for the night. Paul's height is 6 feet. He's an assistant at a butcher's shop and wears size 9 shoes. What does he weigh? The correct answer is meat. He is an assistant at a butcher shop. He weighs meat. All right, guys, we're going to get into the science of affection. You know, the last couple of nights we've talked about trying to get into the theology, the relationship skills, the business deals, and the sports drills, now under the biblical prophecy and regenerative medicine, since I was terminally ill in 2022 and had a vision from my Lord on June 24th, 2023. That is why I'm here. That's what we're doing, and I'm proud and thankful and blessed to be here tonight. But as we continue on talking about how important hugs are and how important knowing what a committed relationship is and how important that the laws of attraction from an emotional safety standpoint as well as a tension building standpoint, we've covered a lot of those. As we continue to move on tonight, we're going to talk about the science of affection. So male or female, it applies to both, although we do know that they are different creatures. Confidence increases perceived attractiveness by signaling stability, competence, and security. I've talked to you a lot about confidence and fake confidence or false confidence. The reason that most men need a wingman, somebody to go up and see if she likes her, is because they don't have the confidence. But once he says, oh, yes, she wants to talk to you, then they walk over with the confidence. body language is 90% of it. So if you can read the body language, if you're a male, you need to make eye contact with her. You can't go through a social setting blind, not looking at people in the eye. But we'll continue to go on more of that on the science of affection. But if you have confidence, it definitely increases the perceived attractiveness. Especially if you're a guy and you'll actually put on a nice scent and dress to where they're always looking at accessories. They're looking at your shoes, they're looking at your belt, they're looking at your quality. Uh, a lot of them will look at what you're driving, and so uh, there's all kinds of out there. But there's a difference in a gold digger and someone who understands and wants security and expects that to be part of the relationship. You certainly don't want to go into a relationship feeling insecure about that relationship. I think too many people enter marriage today because they're scared nobody else is going to want them, or that they're not fully committed uh, until something else better comes along. And so I think once you say I do and you enter that covenant, it's very important that you honor that covenant. And unless your spouse is cheating on you, then you have grounds for divorce. But if there's kids involved, there needs to be some forgiveness, and there needs to be some trying to continue to help. At some point, that relationship meant enough for you to get married and to have children, and now it's grown apart. So you might want to think about all those things before you get in your mind. But as far as the science of affection, body language and confidence is a big key. Similarity in values predicts attraction more strongly than shared hobbies. Similarity in values predicts attraction more strongly than shared hobbies. I think that's correct, basically because you need to be equally yoked. Uh, if you, from a belief system standpoint, you don't want to get into a standpoint that the bottom line is you don't want to get into a standpoint with them uh, unless you know, because similar values, people that are equally yoked, their attraction is going to last longer. Uh, that emotional connection is going to last longer, and it becomes even more important than the overall looks of the individual. You see a whole lot of folks out there, especially ugly dudes with beautiful women, and the first thing every guy would say is, "Well, he must have money." Well, that's the only reason she'd want him. Look how good she looks. Well, she's just his eye candy. That's not always the case. See, in a lot of cases, people connect, and in some cases, they don't even know who the folks are. But now, if they've done their homework and it's a plant and they're all set it up for it, then yeah, that's a whole different level of deception, and you get that at a top level. Uh, at a medium or lower level, you're not interested in going through that kind of a time because there's other fish in the sea, and there's certainly more apples on the tree. So you can see that similar values definitely predict attraction more strongly than shared hobbies. It's cool if you get together because you like to play disc golf, or you get together because you like to play pickleball, or you have you're on a co-ed softball team with your company. There's always settings and stuff for hobbies that can certainly make someone connect, a couple connect. But overall, in a period of time, it will go back to the overall values more so than it will the hobbies. Moderate mystery sustains interest by activating curiosity and reward systems. If you're a male, your biggest mistake is to going in the first 5 minutes telling the individual everything that you've ever done in your life that's great, that's a highlight, trying to get her to like you. Uh, that's the conversation doesn't do it. It's how you make her feel. It would be better for you to be an active listener, looking at her in her eyes while she's speaking, rather than trying your best to over compliment and then oversell yourself in the first 5 minutes, because mystery holds a whole lot. Uh, if they feel like they have to work for it, if they feel like, hey, this is, I've got to, I've got to do everything I can to get this person's attention, and the mystery builds and the tension builds, and you'll find that you'll have more attractiveness if you'll slow down and have more mystery in your relationship. Uh, these days, you spend 3 weeks on the phone having that mystery and that all that build up, and then when you get together, from a physical standpoint, you've already had all that foreplay. But in reality, if you'll get out from behind that computer and that phone and go out and meet people, and then slow down and have some mystery, some intrigue, some enjoyment over the period of time of just enjoying the journey, you'll find that you'll get to know one another, and that science of affection. Difference in attraction and affection. Do you really care about somebody? Do you really love that person? Do you want to spend the rest of your life with them? Because if you don't, marriage is hard enough. Relationships are hard enough. You certainly don't want to sign up if you're 80% in, or we'll go ahead and do this now, but if something else better comes along, then I'll be out. That's not the way, that's our culture. That's why 55% of our marriages end divorce. So, because that's our culture. When things get tough, normally we find a reason to blame someone else and to move right on. Reciprocal likings boost desire because validation reinforces positive self concept beliefs. There's no question, if you like somebody and your heart's beating fast and they like you back, that validation that you put yourself out there and that you weren't rejected, it turns the whole cycle on. Uh, it's from a chemistry standpoint, it's really, really good to know that the person you like really likes you too. And there's a real scary, from a sales standpoint, from a business standpoint, people are scared to ask for the money because they're scared that the answer would be no. In reality, if you don't ask, you get the same answer than as if it is no. So go ahead and take the opportunity and go ahead and face the rejection, because overall, you'll find you'll be connected with the one that you should be with if you'll pray about it. And if you'll take your time, you'll find that science of affection it will come over you with your significant other, male or female, when, during this relationship part of your status. Warmth combined with competence outperforms looks in long-term attraction outcomes. Or those are studies and studies and studies that show that if you're kind and warm and loving over a period of time, and that's the key, and you're very competent, you're very successful, or you're very knowledgeable in what you do, that really far outweighs uh, a lot of other things and elements in that relationship or that marriage. And I think you never can underestimate the eye contact, as it will correlate to that confidence. It will correlate to trustworthiness. It'll it if you'll just hold it a second, 2 seconds longer than what you think you should. It's not a stare down contest. It's just to acknowledge the fact that you saw her looking at you because you were looking at her. And when people they meet eyes, most of them will dart away, and then they'll look back. Just look. And if she darts away, just continue looking at her. She'll look right back. And then it's not a staring contest. Just acknowledge a head nod, a smile, and just move right on. But if you never look at somebody in the eyes, if you walk into a place blind, you don't have any idea if there's any connection. You don't have any idea if anybody's looking at you or likes you or thinks you're anything. I mean, it's amazing that seventh, eighth, and ninth grade boys and girls will talk about a dance for a month, and they'll go out and they'll buy tuxes or formal dresses, and they'll get there and nobody will dance. It doesn't make sense to me. That the dance was the reason for all the other, but now it's not the reason. It's not about going and trying to develop some repetition of dating and being picked, but let the parents take them and pick them up and take them and walk them to the door, teach them the right etiquette. None of that. It's about how much money can we spend on the dress, and what's my friend going to do, and what color is she going to wear, because I'll have to wear another color. And it's not about the relationship. It's not about the fun. And most dudes at that age are so scared to death that they're looking for somebody to make just to walk over and say hello to them. If you guys from 18 to 24 would just be able to hold a conversation, make eye contact, hold a conversation, take a shower, and look decent, you'd be amazed at how there's no men out there with social skills. And women, they're not interested, or they don't believe there's any left. Because now it's all group and Netflix and chill. So if you want to really drive home the science of affection, you need to do these things, male or female. You need to pay attention and understand what works and what doesn't work. And eye contact correlates to chemistry, to trustworthiness, to bonding, to connection, like hugs do, like a good kiss will do. All of those things are part of the human connection that we all want. You have a desire to be connected with other folks, to the point now to where you're just slaved by the phone and the computer. That's your connection. And so what we've got to do is like I tell my students, when you're learning new things, you're going to mess up. When you're expanding your skill set, you're going to mess up. So get those repetitions, those reps in. And when you mess up, move right on. Humor signals intelligence and social skills, enhancing desirability broadly overall. Well, if you can make somebody feel good, be happy, excited, positive, you set yourself apart again. Because most people are stumped for the word hello. They're focused on themselves. They're not interested in listening. So if you can make them laugh, and you're intelligent, and you can hold a conversation, keep eye contact, smell good, dress nice. It's not hard. I think I saw a real shift in what they wore to church in the 70s. And now I see, since COVID, a real shift in what people wear in the workplace. And then they would just say that today's society is lazy. And whether that's true or not, I would tell you that I remember them not wanting women to wear pantsuits to church. I was a little boy. And now you got grown 60-year-old men wearing shorts and flip-flops to church, and lawyers dressing like they're going to the beach, and dentists like they're going for a picnic. So it's a cultural shift. But if you can make folks laugh, if you can have an attitude of gratitude, if you can lift the spirits in the room, then that helps you. And if you get criticized for being a show out or needing attention, then that's part of it too. I don't know if I want to sit around 10 people and nobody say a word to anybody. I can do that. I've been in settings before where that's wise to do, but not a social setting. And I don't, two of these whispering here and two of these whispering here, and this one's staring off, and the other four looking at the phone. It's a social experiment. Just there's your 10 folks, and you got two couples out of the 10 that are actually connecting when they're together. The other folks, they're together, but they got other things on their mind. And you got to make your significant other a priority. Calm vocal tone increases credibility and perceived dominance during interactions. The person who raises their voice first normally loses the argument. If you can stay real calm in every situation, you're much better off. And I'm very good at that. I tell people I'm very, very nice until I'm not. I'm very, very calm until I'm not. So I go a long, long ways, and then when I'm not, then that's a different side of Phee. And we all have those sides to us. And when you fail, you just have to ask the Lord for forgiveness and repent and move on. And if you've wronged somebody, ask them for forgiveness. Most people are really, really surprised if you even ask for forgiveness. If it's not a relationship deal, if it's a business deal or something else, and you ask for forgiveness, it surprises folks. It's absurd. The godliness and the business sense of what used to be, it's not there anymore. Those relationships aren't there. I don't care whether it's in the insurance business or the banking business, no matter what it is, and you're going to find that more and more in sales when machines talk to machines, and all these things that were done by humans and accounting and engineering, they're already transitioning to AI. Right now, you're having the engineer use the AI program, and his job's getting easier and easier. Before long, they won't need him, and then he'll have a hard time finding another one. But your science of affection, if you can keep a calm vocal tone, it certainly increases your credibility and perceived dominance. So there's are a lot of your the science of affection right there: confidence and values and mystery and reciprocal liking, warmth combined with competence, eye contact, humor, and calm vocal tones would be the skeleton of that science for that affection. And I hope it continues to grow. I hope you find the person. I hope if you haven't found it, you will. And if you already have, just continue to grow and build that connection as we continue to move on through, which is going to be a very difficult time in the future. Now, we want to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. We want to talk about the days of Noah. Our Lord says he will come back like the days of Noah. They won't be believing it. Genesis is a tough book. It's over thousands of years, and it is the beginning. But can you imagine Noah, my Lord telling Noah, there's so much sin on this earth that I'm going to just rid the earth of these folks. It breaks my heart that these folks are doing what they're doing. But Noah was worthy, and he walked with God, and for hundreds of years. So God told him, go out in the middle of the dadgum woods and with gopher wood and build this ark. So when he started, folks thought he was crazy, and they mocked him. And then the next year came by, and the next year, and the next year, and they just, that's day after day after day. The Bible, you got to remember, you got to kind of fill in the blanks. When it says Jesus walked out the side door and went up into Galilee and started preaching, did it take him 3 weeks to get there? What did he encounter on the way? Was he carrying a sword? Did he have bandits on the way? See, not everything was recorded in my Lord's life, but you can just imagine those people walking by Noah and mocking him. Oh, he's back at it again. And then year after year, 10 years, 20 years, he's working. He's warning them. He's a man of righteousness. He's preaching. He's saying, heed this warning. Heed this warning. And they laughed at him. They mocked him. If you go back to Sodom and Gomorrah, uh, Lot should have been a long ways away from Sodom and Gomorrah because he was a godly man, but he was right there. He was, right on the edge. He was in that gray area with them. And if you look in Genesis, uh, you'll see that Abraham is, my Lord's saying, look, I'm through with this Sodom and Gomorrah. There's not one of them that's worthy. I'm just going to wipe them off the face of the earth. Their sin is, they're bragging about such satanic sin. Same thing they're doing in 2026. The same exact thing that they were doing. It's turned over into all of this crazy sin. And but Abraham said, what if 50 righteous people are in there? My Lord said, well, I'd save them for 50. Well, he's bartering. What about 45, Lord? Yeah. How about 30? How about 20? How about 10? You just read it. Just like us, we steady negotiate and barter with God, and never works out for us. He honors His covenant, but my Lord said, if you can find 10, and so my Lord sent 2 angels, and not to wipe them out, the city out, but just to check it, just to hang out and see if there was anybody righteous there. So let's pick it up on Genesis 18, and it talks about, what about 20's sake? What about 10's sake? And then, and the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned to his place. Now in Genesis 19. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, behold now, my lords, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet, and ye shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, nay, but we will abide in the street all night. There's your angels. Wouldn't you like to see, did they come in the heavenly form? How were they all buffed up, bowed up, with blonde hair, black eyes, or blue eyes, or blonde hair and green eyes? What were they wearing? They had sackcloths on. There's 2 angels in the midst, and my Lord says there's angels amongst you all the time, and they're everywhere, and they're protecting, and they're doing God's will. But He sent 2 angels. He sent one angel into an Assyrian camp and killed 188,000 of them in one night. One angel. When my Lord sends an angel on a mission, they don't tend to have a problem with it. If you didn't put that lamb's blood around that, the angels wouldn't have passed. The angel of death wouldn't have passed over. You see, just goes out and just wipes out 188,000 like that. So what do these angels look like? See, these angels are in Lot's house, and Lot's trying to, he knows. Look, I'll take care of you tonight. You get up, get you some rest, and get on out of here. And they said, no, we're going to abide in the streets tonight. And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house, and he made them a feast, and did bake unleavened bread, and they did eat. See? Angels eating. Pretty cool. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter. And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, where are the men which came in to thee this night. Bring them out unto us, that we may know them. And Lot went out at the door unto them, and shut the door after him, to shut it behind him, and said, I pray you, brethren, do not so wickedly. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Now Lot offers his 2 virgin daughters to these men in exchange, because the men are so demented, they want to have sex with those men, both young and old, with the angels. They're so perverse, they weren't interested in virgin women. Sodom and Gomorrah that's where sodomy comes from. So they were so perverted that they wanted to have sex with the males and turn down Lot's daughters, which Lot, again, what an idiot. But Lot's, again, in a chaotic state with the mob trying to get men out of his house that are angels, that they're going to rape, gang rape, they think, because angels would have had a good time with that. Well, I think they would have just done more than 188,000 angel in Assyria when that tried to happen. But anyway, Lot, he goes out, shuts the door. He offers his virgin daughters. They say no. They want the men. That's how perverted that Sodom and Gomorrah was. Behold, now I have 2 daughters which have not known men. Let me, I pray you, bring them out unto you, and do ye to them as is good in your eyes. Only unto these men do nothing. For therefore came they under the shadow of my roof. And they said, Stand back. And they said again, This one fellow came in the sojourn, and he needs to be a judge. Now will we deal worse with thee than with them. So now they're fixing to deal, they're going to rape Lot. So let's see what the old angels do here. See rocking and rolling. And they pressed sore upon the man, even Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men put forth their hand and pulled Lot into the house to them and shut the door. And then smite the men that were at the door of the house with blindness. There you go. They start wanting the angels. Lot offers his daughters. They say no, they want the men. Lot tries to go in. They want to fight him. They're going to turn against him. The angels just grab him, bring him in, shut the door, and then strike all of them with blindness. Now they can't even find the door. That's the power of my Lord. And that's what he's going to do when he comes back as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, as the greatest warrior this world's ever seen, to set up a kingdom and rule it with a rod of iron. That will happen. And it will happen in this generation. It's not 50 years from now. It's 7 plus. And we will know we're not children of the night. We're children of the light. And he's not going to come to us like a thief in the night, because we're going to be prepared and watching for him. That is the key. But those angels pulled Lot in. It's both small and great blindness. So they wearied themselves to find the door. And the men said unto Lot, Hast thou here any besides son-in-law, and thy sons, and thy daughters, and whatsoever thou hast in the city? Bring them out of this place, for we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord hath sent us to destroy it. Well, there's your 2 angels that are going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Who you think's going to throw those brimstones, or those big old balls of fire down on that place? Angels are rough. I love my angels. And Lot went out and spake unto his son-in-laws, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for the Lord will destroy this city But he seemed as one that mocked unto his son-in-laws. Well, there you go again. People that know you, people that love you, when you say things like that, when Noah told people for years and years, get on the boat, heed the warning, they did not do it until it rained and the gate had shut, and then they clawed with gnashing of teeth and begged. But they had a 120-year warning. My Lord always gives a warning, and he always gives you a way out of the trap, out of that snare. But you got to pay attention. You got to make him a priority enough to do so. Because Lot was worthy. And the angels told him, get your stuff, get your family. And his two daughters, well, his two daughters had married the son-in-laws. So he tells his son-in-laws and they laugh at him. So he takes his wife and his two daughters and flees the city. But his wife's heart is still in Sodom and Gomorrah. And she turns and becomes a pillar of salt. So now you've got Lot and his two daughters. And they come up with a scheme to where, hey, let's get our father drunk and me go lay down with him to preserve his seed since we have no other men. And Lot knew that she didn't come and he didn't know when she left. So the next night, the other one, daughter, said, let's do it again and I'll go in. So he didn't know when she got there. He didn't know when she left. But both conceived, and there's where you get the Moabs and the Ammons. So there again is your Old Testament, back when fighting and war and living just day to day was a struggle. You didn't have any supermarkets or pharmacies. You didn't have any vehicles or phones. So those things were they weren't made, and so you lived in the age that you lived in then. And now you've lived the only way you've lived, even if you're 100 years old, is in the last 100 years, which is 1925. So you don't remember the time before there were automobiles and when there were horse and cowboys and saloons. So a lot of things happened over those 1900 years and setting the stage. But remember, the United States is 250 years old. They're 250 years old this July 4th. That is a phenomenal run right there, and we're going to be here until the end. So thank you to my Lord for blessing this country, because we're going to protect Israel when the whole world turns against them, as we're going to find out in that day of mourning, that my Lord will take those scales off the Jewish people's eyes, and that they will accept him, and because that day of mourning is coming too. But you can see that just like the days of Lot, my Lord gave him a warning, and he bartered with Lot 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Couldn't find any of them. The whole city, not one. And Noah, 100+ years, preaching, teaching, destruction's coming, flood's coming, as he's building a boat. Year after year, as that boat gets bigger and higher, more stories and more stories and more stories and longer and longer. He just keeps building day after day and telling everybody that he sees, repent. The day of the Lord is coming. You would think that they would have wanted to help him with the boat just to be able to get on it, but they laughed at him and mocked him. And Sodom and Gomorrah was so rough that they didn't want to have sex with virgins. They wanted to have sex with men. And not one of them. They celebrated the satanic cultures that are going on today and being celebrated in secret societies today. Same thing. Well, a day of mourning is coming. And if you'll turn to Zechariah 12, I'm a big fan of Zechariah. I like Zechariah 6, 1 through 8. Correlates well with Revelation 6, 1 through 8 with uh, the four spirits. In the Old Testament's chariots and in the New Testament's horses. But if you'll go to Zechariah 12, Zechariah is almost in the Old New Testament. You got Malachi, and then that's it. But Zechariah, a trembling city. My Lord just loves Jerusalem. Just amazing how he loves Jerusalem. And we don't have to read the first of it. We'll start though in verse 3, Zechariah 12:3. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. Now, there's the last 3.5 years. There's the wrath of Satan. There's when the Antichrist has stood in that third temple on a shared temple mount, stopped the daily sacrifices, had the false prophet proclaim the Antichrist as God, do all kinds of miracles. As Jesus says in Matthew 24, as Daniel the prophet says about the abomination of desolation. Well, the head of that United Nations is going to be head of that one world government, one world religion, going to stand in that third temple, and he's going to proclaim himself as God, do all kinds of miracles. So Zechariah is telling you when that happens, the whole world is going to come after Jerusalem. Remember, that shared temple mount is on Mount is in Jerusalem with the Dome of the Rock and the Olive Mosque. And my Lord's coming right back to that Mount of Olives. And there'll be a day of mourning there. But for 3.5 years, the whole world is trying to invade Jerusalem. That's how strong the United States and Jerusalem are. And when they finally think they've got it, and the southern part of the city falls, and they're coming down with their armies, that's when the MVP, the Lord of Lords and the King of Kings, shows up, and with his armies, and we'll be right there with him in our glorified bodies. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness, and I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. Now, you don't really think they're fighting on horses in this day and age, see? But when he says he can uh, smite you with blindness and have you disoriented, that's what he's going to do to all of these armies and all this communication and all these missiles. And see, he tends to be able to circumvent the system. He's kind of like the great hacker. So when he comes down to it and they think they're going to win, he's going to use the morning star, the planet of Venus. He's going to use some earthquakes. He's going to throw some balls of fire down on them. He's going to make them so disoriented. He's going to confuse them so bad that they're going to start killing each other. That's how powerful my Lord is. And that's why we win at the Battle of Armageddon. And we set up a 1,000-year kingdom that he rules with an iron, a fist of iron. In that day I will make the governors of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in the sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first. There's your Judea, Samaria, West Bank. Your settlers that he says when they say peace and security, don't even go back inside. Get your stuff and go to the mountains. And the mountains is in where Jerusalem is, not down in south. Uh, so, uh, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. It just, before you start hating the Jews, understand my Lord is the God of Abraham, and Jesus is the King of the Jews, because a day of mourning is coming. Zechariah 12:10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him, as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of the Hadadrimmon in the valley of Megiddon, which is Armageddon. And the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Nathan apart, and their wives apart, the family of the house of Levi apart, and their wives apart, the family of the Shimi apart, and their wives apart, and all the families that remain, every family apart, and their wives apart. Well, there's Zechariah 12:10 when my Lord shows them his pierced hands. And they mourn that they didn't accept him the first time. He removes the scales from their eyes, and they worship their Messiah. And the rest of them that are in that synagogue of Satan, those Pharisees that are still around, they're they're still in there in that synagogue of Satan, and that's who we're fighting. We're fighting some real wicked people and some strange forces that are in a different dimension, a spiritual realm, and that's what we are fighting. Secret societies that will be engulfed with satanic worship and world leadership based on deception, a digital cage, digital money, everything obedience and control. But in the United States of America, we have our own system. We won't be bowing to a beast system. At least you won't have to. I would tell you, please, whatever you do, your life is not worth taking that mark. I have seen it. People smoking, begging to die, and can't. Uh, there is your first wrath of God, your vial. That anybody that takes that mark, don't do it. Do not do it. Oh, I love you, son. Night, night from the Caribbean. My goodness gracious, the boy, he's married over his head. He absolutely is just crushing it when it comes to his job and the opportunities that God's blessed him with, the wife and her family that he's been blessed with. So they get to go on all these trips, and I've told them, go, go, go now. So they've been to the Virgin Islands and the British islands and several other islands out in that Caribbean, as their daddy told them, or uh, my son, his father, I told him that I don't want you going over there now with all this Venezuela stuff about 3 months ago. Well, after they invaded stuff, uh, he said, you had me so concerned or worried about this Venezuela. He said, that's so far south. We're going to be on the other side of several islands. I said, well, you're in the Caribbean, so I would be concerned and nervous about that. So I'm thankful that that's already over with. He'll be getting back and going back to work and having a great time. But I'm enjoying seeing the pictures, and I'm thankful that you guys are able to tune in from the Caribbean tonight to listen to Night Night with Phee. But anyway, Zechariah 12 will tell you there in verse 10 that folks are going to mourn when my Lord comes back, and he shows them the hands. They shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son. There's your day of mourning when my Lord comes back, and you're going to find it. It's amazing that if you're old and sick, you're ready for your Lord to come back. But if you're young, teenager, and you got your whole life ahead of you, or if you're married and if you're wealthy, if your life's so good right now and you're looking forward to so much, you just don't have any idea of how much better it is, because that's all we've ever seen. We've only seen this physical realm, uh, and we live in a physical realm. We're limited by our senses. But as you can tell with satellite uplinks and wireless communications and toxins in the air and all kinds of particles and wavelengths and waves, you can see uh, that there's a whole lot of stuff going on around you that you can't see. So as we continue moving forward, new reports today talk about this civil war. I get frustrated with it because I look at the narratives from both sides, and I'm not interested in the information. I'm more interested in what the stories they're trying to push. And you've got a real dedicated Islamic socialist communist jihad movement in our country that is using our own laws and have invaded our country, and it's going to continue to get worse as the propaganda. They're so well financed. You're going to continue to see all the intelligence that's coming out with how they're tracking these agents and how they're showing up and how they're going to their hotel room and they're threatening them, their hotels, and that their local police and state police aren't coming in and helping them or backing them up. All those things are by design. Some people think it's because of the $1 billion fraud in Minnesota. Uh, I just know those folks are killing Christians over there left and right in Somalia. And we're not doing near enough about Nigeria and Somalia. There's too much, you've let the Islamic folks and jihad take over the African continent in the last 40 years, and you fund them with $100 billion from Barack Obama and Joe Biden. So now they're well funded, they're in your country, and they think they're rewarded if they kill themselves, if they kill you with 72 virgins. And they've been taught that from birth. So it's a formidable opponent when they're willing to die and think they're going to be rewarded for it. And so we have to be prepared, especially with these invisible bombs now that they're creating, especially with all the missiles that are close to our border. Remember, I've told you that Cuba's going to be ours. Venezuela will go all the way down to South America. We'll go all the way up to Greenland. The biggest problems we'll have will be Canada and Mexico, but we really just can't do anything about that right now because Canada's not a real country. I mean, they're basically controlled by the King of England, the UK. And we know in the end, the UK is the lion. So, Mexico, you've got about 40 million Hispanics in our country. They work hard, but there's a portion of them that have a real agenda also. And when you have open borders, if just 1% of 1%, uh, if 1% of the 20 million come through had bad intentions for you, and 99% had good, just 1% came through with bad intentions. And 99% of those were caught, and there wasn't but 1%. That's the law of probabilities of 1%. 1% of 1%. And then if you want to go ahead and add another 0.9% to 99.9%, you're looking at anywhere between 150 and 1,500 separate cyber and terrorist attacks in your country. You need to know if you have water, electricity, communications, food, and we're here to stay ahead of the curve. We're here to prepare you with a national electronics communications drill for you to know where your loved ones are, for you to be able to either communicate with them, know whether to leave your house and go someplace else or stay put. Do you have your medicines? Do you have your bug out bag? Lots of things that we can do to help people prepare. But the most important thing we can do is to help them prepare for meeting my Lord. Because tomorrow is not guaranteed for anybody. And it's not a decision you need to put off. You need to accept my Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. To be born again, as he told Nicodemus, by the Spirit and the water. That is how you inherit the kingdom of God. That's how you're on the winning side. I'm coaching this side that wins. Get on that side. If you don't choose a side, you're automatically on the other side. So make it a priority. Let's have a really good time, as my youngest son is doing now. Like I've told all of them, go as many places you can go, do as much as you can do right now. Because it's just, real estate's not going to continue to go up. The stock market's not going to continue to go up forever. And there's not ever going to be any wars. See, that's just, it doesn't work that way. Every 100 years, there's several wars. And by the way, you're at the point now to where almost every country that matters has a nuclear weapon. And in Revelations 9:13, those four angels are loosed out of the Euphrates River to kill a third of man. And that is World War III, and I have seen it. And it's nuclear war. It's with fire, brimstone, and smoke. And then you have the famine and the pestilences. So we got to get the good water. We got to get food. We got to be able to live off the grid with magnets. I can show you how to do all of those things as we're going to try to continue to live like we did or they did back in the 1800s, where you put up food and you smoked your meat and you preserved your vegetables. And that's what we're going to have in the future, because your grocery store shelves will be empty after about 2 days. And if electricity doesn't come back on and you can't go get any money out of the bank, it's difficult to realize how limited you are in that chaotic situation. So it's just like a fire drill, just like a tornado drill. It might not affect your area, but we got a plan anyway just in case it does. Because civil war, it follows civil unrest. And if you can't see all the organized same signs like a political party, and you can't see the verbiage on MS Now and CNN with the VA ICU nurse, and over on Fox, it's the same guy 11 days earlier that was kicking tail lights and harassing the ICE and was detained then. There's your different narratives. There's your left and your right. There's your Republicans and Democrats. And now your Democrats are turned into a socialist, communist, Islamic jihad movement with your New York mayor and your AOC. And you got your several more in Minnesota and Michigan. And they own the majority of Dearborn, Michigan now. They control North Carolina. They've invaded Dallas with 43 new mosques in the last 5 years. They have their city that they're set up out there with Sharia law. They've already heard over 300 cases separate from our judicial system, just using our own laws against us as they invade our country. They got your East Coast and they got your West Coast They got your cities, and you can see Minnesota and Dallas right in the middle, north and south, and then look on the outside too. And they just work their way in. They're not going to run out of money. They got plenty of it. And we've got lots and lots of ships over in right outside Iran in that Persian Gulf. And you can guarantee I've already told you, like I did a month before we bombed them, that I've already told you that we're going to be in there with a regime change this time. And that's going to upset a whole lot of your Muslim Brotherhood. So we've got a whole lot to look forward to. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be excited. We're going to get through this next month and get this behind us. Start with some different types of shows. Start promoting some different products, and start preparing for this National Electronic and Communications Drill. I do appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. If you would hit that share button, I certainly would appreciate it. Like us, love us, follow us, tell people about us if you would. And remember, no matter what you're doing, you're missing something. So let's make what we're doing worth what we're missing. And night night said the cricket, night night said the whale. Night night crazy boy, night night crazy girl, only time will tell. Only time will tell, guys. God bless you. Night night.
Tangled hearts to life's wild maze. She'll charm your soul in subtle ways. A little laughter, a little balm. Her words like waves, steady calm. So grab your hammock, sway to the tune, a cocktail of wisdom under the moon. She's got the answers, a touch of flair, life's big questions handled with care. Night, night with Phee, where advice flows like the sea. Catch the rhythm, catch the glow, let the big band steal the show. Night, night with Phee, it's where you're meant to be.